Hey everybody, this is Jacobo, and I thought I'd do a little tutorial, either for beginners or some people who have experience. I think there'll be something to learn for everyone, just kind of how I navigate through Maya when I'm working. And this is a lot of skills I've kind of picked up in the past, and just through more and more experience modeling I use to make things go a lot faster. And hopefully I'll have some good tips and tricks. So yeah, what I really like to work best is we have the 4 view. I mean, here's the 1 view, here's the 4 view, and it's really nice. You just hover over whichever screen you want to access, and you hit the space key, and then you hit it again to go back, and you have all 4 views. And there's other views you can set up. There's all these and even more. You can select from a whole list, but I like this best. I mean, there's you have your outliner view and your 4 view, but I really like to keep this view because it's really helpful. And then from there, I can go window, outliner, and have this here. Then you have your attribute editor, and then you have all these tabs from here. It has all the history, which you can, and then up here I have my list of tabs, and this is one I've created. You can just do a new shelf, and to add things to your shelf, you can just click over what you want and say separate and hit Control and Shift. Boom, it's on there. And if you don't want it anymore, middle mouse and drag it to the trash. And so these are things that I use all the time. I even kind of put the stuff I use the most over to the side, and this is just a really quick way to access all of these. So like, I don't want history anymore, boom, delete history, modify center pivot. Now if I go to move it, it'll be in the center for rotation. And just some of the objects, and of course extrude is one you'll be using all the time when you're modeling. But I find the 4 view really helpful because, well, for example, create this cube, and then under the option box you can go under inputs, and you can use this to scale it in any direction, and you can subdivide it. So what's really nice is having the top view. What I didn't realize for a long time is there's lots of kind of sub menus, and so you can hold down the space key and then you can access these, and a lot of these are up over the top. So that'll, if you hit 4, it'll be wireframe, 5 shaded, and then 6 with textures. I don't have any applied, and then with lighting, the 7. And then under these you can look through selected. You'll use a lot. If you want to look through a light, or even if you create a new camera, you can jump into that. You can change your perspective, so you have camera 1, because I created a new camera. And you can do how you shade it. When I'm modeling people, I do X-ray a lot, and you can do, you can just, I would recommend you try out all of these. And then some of these are good to know. This sets up your resolution gate, and this one's big. I didn't realize this until very recently. If you're working on this object and you just want to only look at that object, boom, everything else is hidden just within this view. You mess with it, so you don't have to worry about selecting other things. And you can also use this cube to get into those views if you really want to as well, or if you kind of want to just stay in one thing and see it large, so you don't have to switch back and forth. And I mean, there's a whole bunch of different options in here, and all of these that are kind of view specific. You can go view and set up your image plane. I put in just some reference of kind of a cathedral, just sort of some inspiration for modeling. And so yeah, you have a lot of those. If you hold down the space bar, you can access a lot of things from there. Also, right clicking, that can take you to any of these, and edges, you know, if you double click on it in Maya, I think 2008 or later, it'll select the entire edge, which is really helpful. And you can use this, I think I used edges for this and just scale them up and scale them down, so I just moved it back and then did an extrude. And sometimes this can be even faster. When using extrude, you just extrude out a whole bunch of faces and then just really go quickly, you know, just scaling the edges can be even faster. But anyway, there's also, besides that, an important tip, sometimes, like if I'm select on this and I go to right click, yeah, like that, sometimes it can be difficult. It says complete tool. Well, that isn't what I want. I want to try to go back. So what you want to do, you want to hover over one that's not selected, and then when you right click you can go back to object mode, no problem. There's also kind of sub-menus, so you can access these. You can double click over, and this gives you new options. You can use this to soft select or set up your reflection, and this is true for all of those if you double click on these. And these are other tools you can use. Paint selection can be useful, or lasso can give you more of a refined, where you want to select over, using that tool, which can be more flexible than selecting just with a box like this. But also what you can do the hotkeys for this. So these are hotkeys that I use all the time. You know, if you want to move it around, W, E is rotate, R is scale, things like that. And these also, you know, apply if you're grabbing vertexes in, you know, you can use this to affect those as well, move them around, rotate them. But if you do the hotkey, if you hold down the hotkey and then left click, then you have all these different things, and you can, so I can quickly do, I want paint select, and then you paint over the ones that you want. And yeah, camera-based selection is very useful. Let me go to face, and let me frame this up. Actually, I'll turn camera-based selection, so if I select, let's say I just want the top faces. Select all the top faces. However, it selected all the bottom faces, and maybe that's what I want. And if I went over the whole thing, it'd select all the faces because I'm selecting over the right edge. However, if I go to turn camera-based selection on, now all of a sudden selected the top, but I didn't select any of these, so that can be very useful. And then, you know, within these sub-menus, yeah, there's all these other menus. Yeah, turn on reflection and scale, and you know, all of that is very, very useful.